Hey, after doing the two videos with Jaime powders, I've done a little bit of extra practice, more playing, because of course, with Jaime powders, you need to do that. It's just too much fun. And I came across a couple additional tips that I think would be useful. I also wanted to show those of you who are in Saturday's class what our finished papers look like. So we're back just for a quick little video here to share some of those additional tips and tricks, show you our finished papers from Saturday, and hopefully you guys are having a great time working on your Jamie powders as we speak. So let's get going with that. We'll start by showing you some of the finished papers. If you could scan way in here, honey, we'll put these in front of a piece of white card. Here's some of our finished papers from Saturday. Here is one of our acetates. Yeah, maybe a little more even. Sure. If we get in close enough, they should be able to see some of the sparkle, I would think. And I got to figure out where I'm going. There we go. See the sparkle and sheen in that? Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? This is done using the clear texture paste with the sparkles on the back in our stencil. Here's another. Now, a few of these I might have done after. So if they don't look familiar, they may be ones I was playing with after the fact. But same techniques, just playing with the colors. I wanted one that was more purple. This one was still more blue. Still gorgeous, by the way. Absolutely beautiful. But one of these in here is more purple. Here's one that turned out more purple. This is done with a lot of purple and a little bit of blue. I also want to show you what these look like from the back. Look at those. Isn't that gorgeous too? It seems like the white shimmer powder kind of raises to the top in the back where we put the paste on, and then you can see the clear, with the color saturation right at the acetate. So they're really beautiful. Just running through here. This was one that when I first looked at it, I thought this was a fail. But now that I have looked at it some more, I actually think putting a mat with a phrase in the middle of it, this one's actually going to be really pretty. I will also tell you, this is one that I played with after the fact, and I wondered what would happen if I just kind of picked up some of the sloppy leftover paste on the board. See the shiny spots there? That's from the leftover paste that I had on my board, which kind of led me in some of the direction I'm going to show you today. This is one we're going to use for cards, so this is one you'll want to do one like. And we did this together in class. Look how shimmery and gorgeous that is. Beautiful. I believe we did the green one in class. It too is beautiful. I think we talked about, using this for, you could use this for vines. You could use this in the back of a panda scene. You could just use this as an abstract. I think it's really pretty. This is one we made in class, putting the paste through the stencil, and it's got a, I don't know why I keep getting kitty hairs and things. The cats aren't allowed out here, so I'm not sure. They must be coming off me. But here's one where we've just done the paste directly to cardstock. That's a beautiful thing. Here's another. Now this was done, and this is one of the ones I want to talk about. One of the techniques I want to talk about today. This was what we got when we took this stencil. Come on, get in the middle here. There we go. When we took this stencil and we used the reverse. And while it's pretty, we actually have a quite high number of gaps and things in it. It will still be beautiful for distress work, but this is the same. This is what happens when we use the reverse, which is still pretty, but I want to show you something new I've learned. Here's a few of our papers from the other day. Just a quick tour through those when they're dry. This one looks a lot like meteorites or something. Pretty. This one was one I was playing with, and I was trying to see what would happen with the black if I just got the shimmer powder everywhere, and it kind of gives that cloudy look with the meteorites in the back. I did quite a few of those. Here's one that we did together that has the coral crush and the lime. Here's one we're using in class. Now, one side of this one's messy, and I'll probably cut sentiments out of this, but the other side is beautiful for a card base. And then we wanted a couple solids to use for our mats. So there's my solid green. Here's my solid blue. I think we looked at those before. Here's some more acetates. These are the ones that are done on glue. And some of these we did together and some I've done separately. But in all cases, you can kind of see what we got. This is the one we did in class, and then I went back and tried it again. Tried to get a little less blue, and I got this one. Still has a lot of blue, but it's better. Here's one that is teals and blues. I think this one we did together. Isn't that pretty? Here's the red one. Picture this against gold. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to put some gold mirror board behind that. That's just yummy. Beautiful. Here's one done in greens with a little bit of teal. I think we may have done this one together. This is also done on glue. Here's the one that you guys wanted to try and see what would happen if we scraped it. And you can see that you could absolutely scrape designs into it if you wanted to. I love the blue-green effect on this one, by the way. But there's our swirls and scrapes we did with the fork and the end of our spatula, so you can see what that one looked like. Here's kind of that confetti one that we did. Kind of confetti colors. Okay. And I'm going to set these aside for a minute. I need another piece of acetate. I forgot I needed to work on acetate for this. Actually, I don't really have to. I'll just do it on card. Now I do need a piece of acetate because I wanted to replace that light one that I had. One of the ones that we wanted to use for one of our cards came out lighter than I wanted. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so I want to work on a piece of acetate here. Cut this. Okay. All right. So let's go back, and I'm gonna just. Oh, here's the one I wanted to show you that I'm redoing. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. It just came out lighter than I wanted, so I want more intense color for my card than this one. So we're gonna redo that one. So let's just do that real quick. We're gonna mix up our paste. I'm going to go straight to the mat with this. I'm going to use fuchsia, and I'm going to use lime. So I want, oh boy, that just pulled right off of there this time. Well, I guess we need to know that those will come unscrewed. I did not mean to do that, but let's use some of that fuchsia. Wow, that's going to be a mess to clean up all that powder, but I wanted intense color. I think I'm going to get it. What do you think, guys? Yeah, let's just scoop some of this in there. I want a nice intense color in my fuchsia. Not quite that much, but hey. I will be able to use that fuchsia, believe it or not, for what we're about to do in a minute here. Let's just pull some of this up onto our stencil. That should definitely give me the bright red effects I'm looking for. There is a method to my madness why I'm showing you something I've already shown you. because I want to do the second part of this and the second printing once again. I think I will come to the other side of my board with my second color, since I pretty much have a mess on that side. And I think we'll mix up my line over here. And this time I'm not going to pull the cap off or unscrew it. I'm going to I do want a fair amount of my line, but I really don't want it to do what that did. I want a more intense color saturation. So let's get this palette knife here and mix that lime up good. And let's get some of this lime powder into our work here. Not worried if I go one color over the other, that actually will look great. Pulling it into all the little openings. I do not, however, want to create a corrupted color with mixing the fuchsia and the green, because I don't want to get a brown. So I'm going to take it off of the knife every once in a while, even though I don't mind them kind of mixing a little bit in some of the cavities. I don't want to keep spreading the brown kind of color in. Pull up here. I did get a little brown in there. Okay. I'm going to pick up a little more of this red and right back into this area. As long as I've got it here, might as well use it, right? Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna wipe off the corrupted part. I just got my nails almost clean from my last venture, so it was time to go at this again. Okay, I'm going to push a little more paste into that corner. I didn't have enough. Take my magnet off, I see that. Take my magnets off here. Oh, I see we've got a little empty spot there. I'll cover that up. All right, let's take our stencil off of our acetate. Come in. If I can pick it up. There we go. Peel that off. This is going to be pretty. A nice intense color this time. I can already tell it's going to be a really rich color. That's going to be nice. That's the colors I'm looking for. Now, I want to show you what I learned after playing with this some more. I'm going to put another piece of cardstock down. I'm going to spritz this cardstock a little on the back. It's just regular card this time. Spritzed it on the back, a little bit on the front. Gonna spritz the front a little bit more. Now, by spritzing it a bit, I'm gonna lay this stencil back down here. I'm gonna grab myself a paper towel. Looks like I have a little bit of paste, kind of a little dried piece there. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna lay down a piece of paper towel on top, and I'm gonna press this in. I want you to see the difference between spritzing my cardstock good and kind of laying this stencil down and rubbing the back a little bit, the difference that we get in the quality of our second print. Lift the stencil off. And look at the difference in the quality of our second print. Now, I didn't have a lot on my stencil here, but that's still going to make a really, really good background, a good second print. I like that a lot. So by the difference between this and what I showed you before was spritzing my stencil and then, or excuse me, spritzing my paper good on the front and the back, laying my stencil face down, and then putting the paper towels on and actually giving it a rub. Now I want to show you the second thing I learned, and we'll use the spilled powder. Can I give you this, please? Don't want to ruin my stencil, so Bryce is going to wash it off for me. I'm going to clean up my green on my table a little bit here. Clean off my Vici station and clean up my green because I don't really want green and burgundy mixing. And I want to show you the second technique that I learned. I've seen this before, but it didn't occur to me to try this with the Jaime powders. And I like the way the results turned out. In fact, before we get started here, let me show you where we're going. I'm going to show you a few prints I took by getting I actually worked primarily on my station, and maybe I can actually get most of that powder moved to my station. That would be good if I could do that. But let me show you some of the other things that I made when I was playing around. Look at these, guys. We're going to get this by dipping right into the powders on the table or your work surface or your station if you have one. This is one of my favorites right here. Isn't that beautiful? We're going to get these by dipping right into the powders. You can get a lovely, really beautiful pastel effect. This one I wondered what would happen if I kind of had some goopy paste there and I tried dipping right into the paste. And what you'll see is I still get the shimmer of the powders, but I also get some areas that are kind of translucent too and shiny, which was kind of fun and different. So all of these effects I got by dipping right into the powders on the table. This one I want to use for an ocean scene and cut this off a bit on the bottom and put fish above it. So this is what we're going to do with our powders now. Is we're going to take our fuchsia, we're going to put it on the table, maybe add some different colors to it, and actually dip our paper into it, into wet. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to tip this over and hopefully get most of that powder onto my station. I'll take some of this goopy stuff Let's get it up on the station. We might as well use that since we've got it. Flick as much of that loose powder as I can onto my station before I clean this up. And let's wipe this up a bit. This is going to be messy. Because I want to try and keep my mess mostly on my station if I can. I did learn something with the use of the station as I was going here, and that is that if you're doing this next technique right on your station, remove your ruler because mine actually absorbed some of my paste and discolored my ruler. So move your ruler if you're working on a station. Didn't hurt the board at all. What I'm going to do here though, let's get some water on there. Might as well get this powder off of my spatula while I'm at it. That's why not. This powder kind of mixed in there. Yes, it's a messy job. And let's just kind of make up a little soup here. Now, you know why Bryce does the cooking? If this is my version of soup, he'll want to ask who's cooking or accepting a dinner invitation. Okay, so we've got that nice, beautiful fuchsia there. Save my palette knife while I'm at it. And all it was going to do where I had the paste is it's going to be shiny there in those little bits. I'm going to add a little grape just for fun here. Because everything's better with purple, don't you think? I think we'll add a little of one of the underutilized colors. I don't know how I missed doing it, but there's another purple here. This one's called Purple Affair. I'm going to put a little of the Purple Affair on this side. I'm going to give this another little spritz. Big spritz, really, but it's okay. And now I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to spritz the back. I am not using watercolor paper for this. Obviously, it would probably be best if I did, but I'm out of my supplies because I used all mine when I was playing. And I'm just going to run this paper right through. Why don't you back up just a little, huh? I'm going to run this paper right through the liquid on my board. I'm going to let it run around a little bit. I'm going to let it drip. I'm going to see what kinds of effects I can get, just letting it run around the board. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I actually think this will be a really cool background. If you don't want to get your fingers all dirty, you better wear gloves because this is a messy, messy affair here. Would you bring my table, the drying table back over, please? And you might give me a clean tray on the top. Thank you. Okay, let's do another one. And we can add other colors if we want to. We can add more purple to the mix because, hey, life's better with purple. I think we've determined that. I can mix it around in here. I can do whatever I want because this is all play, guys. What we're doing here is all play. And sometimes the more you experiment, the cooler it turns out. So why not? I'm going to just dip it and pull. I'm going to dip it and pull back. Trying to keep most of my mass contained. Like that. I think I'd like this side to be a little more intense, so let's give it a second dip. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty. I'm going to the board with that one. Okay. I'm going to do one more of these and I'm going to switch colors. I just have a lot of ink left here. I hate to waste, so I'm going to... What would happen if we added a little... we'll put a little blue right down the middle, just for fun and interest. Give it a little spritz. We know that that blue is really intense. I'm going to come down through the middle, spreading that blue in. I'll come back the other way. And just for curiosity's sake, I'm going the opposite direction. Because why not? I'll give myself a really pretty purple. I like that. The drying table with it. Now we got some beautiful purple on our board. Let's get some more of that going. Be sure you spritz the back if you're using regular cardstock like I am, because now I can just lay it down in there, kind of rub around the back and see what happens. Look at that. You think that'd be a pretty background for something? I do. Okay, so this can be really, 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 really fun to just mess around with this. And one thing you didn't see, but it is really apparent up close, is that by making these watercolor papers like this, we're still getting those beautiful pearlescent flecks in here. So this paper is just really gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of the papers that I was getting that I used in the landscape set. So many of you complimented and talked about how cool the papers were. Remember those the papers that I put in the landscape where it was kind of watercolor? I didn't make them, I just used them out of a book. But the watercolor papers that were very pastel-y, and they just had nice soft, beautiful watercolors, mixing the colors. The more I go, the more my paints mix. So my fuchsia, my purple, and my teal are turning into shades of purple. Not that I mind shades of purple, but the more I mix, the more the paints are going to mix. Sometimes I like just letting it drip and see what happens, because the drips can be really pretty. Just to give you some nice variation in color. The paper will become very saturated, so it's important to make sure that you're spritzing it cardstock on the back, or it's just going to turn it into a ripply mess. I like this purple color. I'm going to add a little more teal. Is it blue or teal? That's beyond blue. I'm going to add some blue to my board here. I'm just going to lay this one down and see what happens. By rubbing on the back, I'm kind of pushing that water in different directions. Looky there. Isn't that pretty? The more I rub it on the paper, the more I'm getting a white edge on it. I think I'm losing. I think I'll stop there because I really like the blue and purple. I forgot to spritz that one on the back after I just now talked about that. I did not spritz the back, and look at how it's curling. Better late than never. And spritz that because I really like that lavender and purple look. So I wanted to share this technique just because this is really a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You can see I could go through lots and lots of paper really fast doing this, but it's just a really good time. And I think you'll really, really enjoy this technique if you don't mind getting a little messy. And after all, some of the best things in life are messy. So just have fun with this and go with it, guys. Try it. I think you'll really enjoy. And the papers you will get with these pastels are just beautiful. So give that a shot if you will. And like I said, if you don't want purple fingers, don't want to look like you beat all your fingers with a hammer, you might want to wear some gloves for this because this is going to be messy. But what fun it is. So there we go. Isn't that pretty? That's going to be gorgeous. So I promised Bryce this was going to be short and sweet and to the point. And that's what we're doing when you're all done. You can, or if you want to switch colors on your palette, you can just take some baby wipes, wipe that off, and try a new set of colors. But it's very, very fun. And I thought it was something you'd really enjoy. For our stampers in the group, I was remiss on Saturday in not recommending that you make an acetate print using this stencil in our samples. I think we did it in blues and purples with paste, so give that a shot if you would, please. And I think that's it for tonight. This is Debbie from Simply Special Crafts saying good night, Gracie.